Good morning, distinguished guests, esteemed professionals, our respected colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to this high-level knowledge sharing session on the critical theme, Beyond Logs and Alarm, a comprehensive approach to enterprise asset protection. My name is Oluwaseun Hamigun, and I will be moderating this guest session with my colleague, Mr. Tochukwu Akpa. This gathering is not just another meeting. It is a convergence of thought leaders, industry experts, and decision makers committed to advancing a more robust, intelligent, and integrated approach to enterprise asset security in Nigeria. And today's session is jointly convened by two highly respected institutions: the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, who is the apex body representing the collective interest of employers in Nigeria. And over the years, NECA has distinguished itself as the authentic voice of business in the country, consistently advocating for policies and practices that enhance enterprise competitiveness and sustainability. And in collaboration with NECA, we are proud to have the Association of Licensed Private Security Practitioners of Nigeria, ALPSPN. This unified body comprises of licensed private security operators in the country, and they have played a crucial role in standardizing practices, promoting regulatory compliance, as well as elevating professionalism within the private security sector in the country. Today, we delve into the conversation that goes far beyond physical infrastructure and conventional deterrence. We interrogate the future of enterprise protection in a world where risks are dynamic, sophisticated, and often unseen. Logs and alarms are no longer enough. The threat we face demands a multidimensional response, one that integrates intelligence, technology, policy, and collaboration. And today we are privileged to have a distinguished lineup of speakers who will do justice to this critical topic. While every participant here is a dignitary, but permit me in the interest of time to recognize a few notable leaders joining us today. Today we have our chief host, the Director General and Chief Executive of the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, Mr. Adewale Smart Oyorinde. Mr. Oyorinde is an advocate for business resilience and enterprise sustainability. Welcome, DG. Good morning, sir. Our co-host, the Chairman of the Association of Licensed Private Security Practitioners of Nigeria, Mr. Babatunde Mumini, a leader for his commitment to raising the bar in private security practice across the country. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Babatunde Mumini. We also have with us the Lagos State Commandant of the Security and Civil Defense Corps, Commandant Adedotun Sunday Keshinro, who is ably represented by the Deputy Commandant, Eze Onyegbula. Mr. Onyegbula is the HOD in charge of Private Guard Companies Department in the NSCDC Lagos State Command. I'm sure that his insight will illuminate our conversation today. And also with us is a seasoned security expert, legal mind, and former national president of the Association of Licensed Private Security Practitioners of Nigeria, Barrister Wilson Ensangbedo, who currently serves as the chairman of ASIS International. We are honored by your presence, sir. Good morning. And to all our distinguished participants joining us from across sectors and institutions, your presence here today underscores the urgency and importance of this conversation. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and privilege to invite our chief host, the Director General of NECA, Mr. Adewale Smart Oyorinde, to deliver his welcome remarks. DG, you can have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, our partners in running these very important cases. Good morning, participants. I think it's before now, many years ago, the assumption that when you have your compound fenced and gated in whatever way with barbed wires and locks, the assumption generally is that it is safe. But recent events that we've seen have shown that it doesn't matter how high the fence is, it doesn't matter how strong the locks, how strong they could be or they are, it doesn't really guarantee security in the context of protection of assets. And from our own experience, events that happened in 2022 or 2023, a few years ago, the EndSARS event, where member companies and businesses generally lost over 1 trillion naira in assets that were destroyed, vandalized. Those events point to the fact that it goes beyond the locks, it goes beyond the fence, and goes beyond even the CCTV. While they play their own specific role in enhancing deterrent and enhancing protection of company assets or organizational assets, a lot more still needs to be done. And I want to appreciate one of our very key stakeholders, Ambassador Zeribe, we started a conversation on this issue of security, and he emphasized that there is very important need for us to have a KSS that will deal with this issue. So Chief facilitated the engagement, he connected us, and now we are where we are with our very important partners, the organization that we are running this together. I also want to appreciate the commandant and every other speaker and panelists that will also share their deep insight and perspective in the context of security as it should be, not as we think it. It's one of the series of KSS that will be running on issue of security, because protection of company assets has become a fundamental issue in enterprise sustainability. So once again, thank you our speakers. Thank you to the 82 participants that have joined us. We know many others will join us even as we continue. And thank you to my colleagues in the Secretariat for managing the back end. I'll hand over back to you, Seun, even as we look forward to a very incisive and very insightful session today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DG, for that insightful welcome remarks. On this note, I have the honor to invite our co-host, Mr. Babatunde Mumini, to give us his opening remarks.
Good morning, everybody joining us in this first online collaborative seminar, KSS, with ALPSPN and NECA. I will stand on the existing protocols which have been laid down by the DG, and I would like to welcome everybody. It is my honor as Chairman Legal Zone of ALPSPN to welcome you all to this historic occasion, the very first ALPSPN and NECA collaborative KSS. Today, we step beyond locks and alarms to explore a truly comprehensive approach to protecting our most critical assets. Together, we will challenge traditional thinking, share best practices, and chart a smarter, more resilient path forward for enterprise protection. I want to thank you for being part of this milestone, and I look forward to the insights, discussions, and partnerships that will be forged here today. Let us make it a great KSS. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We thank you very much, DG NECA and the chairman of ALPSN, for the welcome and opening remarks. And on this note, I will be inviting my colleague, Mr. Tochukwu Akpan, to take us through the program. Yes, you can have the floor, Mr. Tochukwu.
Mr. Seun, thank you very much. As my colleague Seun had already pointed out, we have two gentlemen that will be doing justice to the topics of today. First is Barrister Wilson Esangbedo, who is Barrister Wilson Esangbedo.
Yes, good morning, everybody. I'm happy to be here.
Dr. Wilson Esangbedo, CPP, has 36 years experience in industrial security. He is a certified protection professional since 2004. He's 36 years at the Nigerian Bar. He is a member of ASIS International since 1998. He has held the following positions in ASIS International, namely Chairman, ASIS Lagos Chapter 206, Assistant Regional Vice President, Region 11A, Regional Vice President, Region 11A, Senior Regional Vice President, Region 11A. Currently, a member of the ASIS International Global Board since 2024. He has served as President of Association of Licensed Private Security Practitioners of Nigeria from 2019 to 2022, and Chairman Lagos Zone of the Association from 2017 to 2019. Dr. Wilson Esangbedo is an Assistant District Governor of Rotary International District 9112 from 2022 till date. He's currently the District Executive Secretary of Rotary International District 9112 since July 2024. His term expires June 30, 2025. He is the Executive Secretary of Nigerian Institute for Industrial Security since 2023. He's married with children. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, yet another gentleman that will also be doing justice to one of the topics today is Mr. Keshinro Sunday Adedotu. Mr. Keshinro Sunday Adedotu is also a commandant hails from Ijebu East local government area of Ogun State, was born in Oshobo, Osun State, about 5 decades ago. He attended All Saints Primary School, Oshobo, and St. Mark's Commercial High School, Oshobo, Osun State. He attended the prestigious University of Ilorin, Kwara State, between 1991 and 1996, where he bagged Bachelor of Science BSc degree in Industrial Chemistry. He did his National Service Corps in NYSC in the then National Fertilizer Company, NAFCOM, on River State, between 1997 and 1998. He also furthered his academic attainment pursued by enrolling for postgraduate studies, where he bagged the Masters of Science MSc degree in Legal Criminology and Security Psychology, University of Ibadan in 2012. He holds a professional membership of renowned Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators, and he became qualified as a Chartered Mediator and Conciliator, CHMC, in 2014. He's also a holder of 3 Microsoft IT international certifications, such as Microsoft Certified Professional MCP 2009, Microsoft Certified Technology Specialist MCTS 2009, and Microsoft Certified System Administrator MCSA 2011. The senior officer was enlisted into the service as a volunteer in 1998 in FCT Command. His appointment was regularized in 2004 after the Corps became a full-fledged paramilitary agency via the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSDCDC, Act 2023, with the rank of Assistant President of Corps 2. He rose to the rank to become the Commandant of Corps in 2021. The senior officer attended various courses, both at home and abroad. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please help to welcome him. You're welcome, sir. So to continue with the program, and without wasting much of our time, I would like us to move to the next, which is the first presentation with the title Beyond Locks and Alarm. And the person presenting it is Dr. Wilson Esan Bedo. Please, sir, can you take the center stage?
Okay, thank you very much. Should I share my slide or will it be done?
Yes,
Right, sure, sir.
Should I go ahead and share?
You can share your slides, sir.
Okay.
Wow, we can't hear you. I don't know if it's only me.
Sorry, I'm trying to share my slide. Just a second. Share my slide, sure. Yes, Professor. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes.
We can hear you, sir.
Yes,
Good morning.
the DG of NECA, the chairman of Chapter 206. My name is Dr. Wilson Esan. I'm not the chairman of ASIs, but I'm a member of the global board of ASIs. I'm going to be handling the topic approach to enterprise asset protection. Now, I'm sure many of us heard the DG of NECA speak about the challenges of restricting ourselves to physical security measures in asset protection. So we have to actually go beyond that. Enterprise asset protection is a strategy that goes beyond physical security measures as it extends to protecting the client's digital space, financial space, and also intellectual property. Many of us that are operating
We cannot hear you.
Sorry, I did not mute myself. I did not unmute myself. So we're saying that enterprise asset protection is a strategic and comprehensive approach to safeguarding an organization's physical, digital, and financial and intellectual assets. It involves preventing loss, ensuring continuity, and enhancing operational efficiency. Now, there are these elements of enterprise asset protection is something that we must study carefully. We must look at it. If you are employing enterprise asset protection in providing security in a facility, these are the elements you must look at. One is loss prevention. Whatever strategies you put in place must ensure that nothing gets missing in that facility. Of course, it's a very tall order in our line of business. I've seen a lot of guard companies being thrown out of their clients' premises by their clients because something got missing. As far as the client is concerned, that should have happened under normal circumstances. But what actually helps the private guard company to escape liability, apart from insurance, is if there are cameras. With the camera, you're actually able to look at the records, the video records, and you're also able to ascertain liability. It may not just be the gas, because anytime anything goes wrong, the gas are the worst liable. The gas is the one that's stored. It's a very big problem for our industry, because it may not actually be the gas. It may be internal pollution without the knowledge of the gas, and they heap it on the gas. So if you are operating as a private gas company, you're trying to protect a facility, so loss prevention should be one of the things you should look at if you want to employ the principles of enterprise asset protection. You don't just go into a place because you want to provide security. Somebody gives you a container to protect, and what is in that container is worth over 800 million. And it goes further to hand over the keys to the gas. In enterprise asset protection, there must be a layer, a barrier, must be a layer of security between the operatives and the asset itself to ensure that there is proper control and loss does not happen. So that first element, loss prevention, is key. For those of us who want to protect facilities, we must look at this element. It's very, very key. You go into a business to protect a facility and things start getting missing, you're going to be thrown out of the place. It doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. Whatever excuse you're going to be giving. Most of us that lose our businesses, we lose our businesses because something has gone wrong, something has been stolen, worth so much. And that affects that trust the client has in that particular business. The other element of enterprise asset protection I should be looking at is business continuity. You're providing security for a company. You must do it in such a way that the business does not run down. Even if that business, even if there are challenges will be because there's a fire incident, challenges could be because there's an armed robbery attack, challenges could be security driven, whatever are the challenges. You must sit down with the client and ensure that they have good policies that encourage the business to bounce back when there's a crisis. So crisis management should also be part of the services that you offer, not just to go ahead and just provide gas services. Then the other aspect of enterprise asset protection, the other element that is key is operational efficiency. We have seen a lot of instances where a guard company goes, another one comes in, one goes, another one comes in. And the challenges in keeping a particular beat has to do with the operational framework that the organization works with. So the operational framework must be right. And for your operational framework to work, you must remember that what drives effective security operation is the control room. So if you are running this business and you don't have a control room, an effective control room that's open 24 hours, you're not ready for this business. You know that you must also have people that go out to check the gas that you have deployed. You must check them, you must supervise, you must patrol, you must make sure they are doing the work properly, you must make sure all the beat training is going on. You don't deploy gas when you forget about that. You patrol, you train, you check their documents, you check their patrol books, check their log books, make sure they are doing right. You also must have a lot of interfacing with the customer to ensure that the customer is happy. Otherwise, you keep on getting what they call surprise termination letters, terminating a contract that you worked so hard to get. So those elements are very key. So a simple definition of enterprise protection is one that if you can only remember this, if you want to use this strategy, you must be ready to combine policy, technology, and human factor. How many of us go into a facility to provide business and we ask, what policy framework do you have? Do you know why that policy framework is very important? Because the gas are going to be implementing whatever policies are there. The policies are wrong. The guarding services you have already will fail. So I know we all remember, those of us doing this private guarding, before you go into a facility to take a contract, the first thing you do basically is to do your survey. Survey goes beyond just checking to see how many gas are you going to have to be able to ensure that that particular bit is properly manned. It goes beyond that. It's very comprehensive if you want to do it right. Yes, how many men am I going to have? Yes. Then what facilities does the company have in place to ensure that your men are able to provide good service? Then what are the risks associated with providing that particular service? Then the crime rate in that area is also very important. The history and trends of crime in that place will also assist you in putting in place a security framework that will ensure that that facility is secure. So for you to be able to employ the principles of asset protection, one of the things you must do is you must know how to do risk assessment and asset identification. You go into a facility to provide security, ask, what assets does the company have? What value is assigned to these assets? What assets will you deem very critical that needs protection? I've done a security audit in a facility where they lump 30 gas in a car park. And when I did that assessment to find out what are they protecting, I discovered they were protecting scraps that had no value. And when I put it in my report, that aspect of that contract was scrapped. Because how can you be having 30 gas protecting nothing? As far as they are concerned, it was business as usual. So the critical assets you must identify it if you want to provide effective security. So you conduct your risk assessment and find out what threats. Once you already have done the asset identification, you already know the assets, and you already know who the asset owners are, and you know how to interact with them. Your risk assessment is also very key. That risk assessment will guide the type of personnel you're going to deploy to that facility, the type of technology you're going to use to ensure that your operations remains efficient. And the inventory of all assets is also very key. And that's where you need to work with those that you can regard them as the asset owners. In many organizations, the admin people believe they are the asset owners. And you need to interact with them, find out whether they have an asset register. That asset register will also help you to understand the value the criticality of the assets, how important the assets are to the business, and the kind of threats that have affected the assets in the past. Once you understand that, you will now know how to protect those assets. And then this assessment is also very key because it also guides you on how to charge your fee. Because once you pay the gas well, they will work well. But the challenge we have with many organizations is they resist paying security officers well. They prefer to pay drivers well, but security officers that provide security, they won't pay them well. So that has to start changing. Pay them well. Cleaners earn more than security officers. It's a misnomer. Cleaners work and go home. These guys, they stay and work to protect the assets. So once those officers are well paid, they're properly motivated, they will give you the best security you can ever find. Most of the incidents we have had happening in many locations because the guys are not happy, the guys are demotivated. They see cleaners any more than them, they see drivers any more than them, they see even the lowest ranked officer any more than them. And they are regarded as the downtrodden. Even when the client pays his own staff first, they owe the guard company, they pay them whenever they want. Most of the time, they've turned security guard companies into finance companies. At times, they owe them for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. And that's why at times, when they want to give out guard business, they will insist, they want to see your turnover, they want to see your bank record, they want to be sure you have the financial strength to be able to pay your guys. When they don't, they will not pay you. That's not the way to encourage this business. You want proper service, you want proper security, pay the guard companies well. When you pay them well, they will pay their guards well also. The second one is policy development and governance. Like I said earlier, you go into a place to provide security, the first thing you're going to be asking is what kind of policies do they have? If they don't have good policies, work with them and develop clear policies, even if you have to do it free of charge. Of course, if they have a budget, yes, you can do it and they will pay you. Because what makes us work well is the policy framework. Once the policy framework is wrong, the guard service can never be efficient. So make sure the policy framework your security guards are going to work with is good and is effective. So those policies that you have, your standard operating procedures drawn up, many organizations, even when you approach them and say, let's sit down and work on the SOP, they don't have time. You know, but of course, those that have CSOs that know what they are doing, yes, they will sit down with you because they understand the importance of having good SOPs, standard operating procedures. Once those standard operating procedures are working and they're effective and they are good and they have been tested, yes, you'll be able to give good service. Another thing that is also important too is compliance alignment. Ensure policies comply with regulatory frameworks. We have had a situation whereby a regulatory agency in a particular industry called the guard company and said, please, I need 1 guard. And the company said, I'm sorry, I cannot provide you 1 guard because it's against our regulatory framework to give 1 guard. Go to the police and ask for 1 guard, they'll throw you out. They will not give you less than 2 guards. So for this business, as a minimum level, when the asset facility is very small, should be minimum of 2 guards day, 2 guards night. So if you are still operating 1-1, you're not in business, so because things are going to go wrong. Of course, you are providing a service that is cheap. 1. Then also 2, a situation whereby the company will tell you, don't worry, I have my own malam that work in the night, you work in the day. Of course, something can go wrong in the day and they will heap it on you. I know of a particular company, a hotel, something went wrong. The guys only work nights, but this incident happened in the day and they heaped it on the company and they were made to pay for an asset that was lost to the tune of 10 million naira. Of course, the insurance company, yes, if you are lucky, the insurance company will pay, but at times they don't pay. How much are you earning that you pay that kind of money on items, assets that have been stolen or assets that have been lost, not caused by you? So compliance alignment is very key. Then also assign ownership, designate roles and responsibility for asset management and protection. So once you've been able to identify the asset owner or each of the assets you are protecting, you must sit down and work out a strategy where those that are supposed to protect those assets take ownership of those assets. It should no longer be, yes, we've checked everything, everything is cool. I mean, it goes beyond that. You must have a checklist of what they should be looking at when they are taking over and when they are handing over. That way, you're able to assign responsibilities for problems to a particular team that works at a particular time. Of course, my next item is fiscal security measures. This is what many of us are already familiar with. But when you are engaged in fiscal security measures, don't forget the importance of environmental controls. You must also look at your environment. You are working for a facility that is just by a filling station. You are operating in a facility that is by a gas plant. That you must capture in your reports. That should flag off a safety issue, because if that gas plant goes on fire, that facility is going to go down. So you must also put in place measures. What if that facility goes on fire? What are we going to do to protect that facility? When you go to your client and you are talking like that before you take over business, they know, yes, this person knows what he's doing. This person understands the business of protecting assets, because you are now operating from a different angle. It just goes beyond just providing gas and you throw your piece away. No, it must go beyond that. The environmental control is key. Surveillance and monitoring is also important. I've been to a few security companies, their control room, where they will provide gas, and from the comfort of their control, will be able to monitor what those gas are doing. Do you know why this is very key in providing security? Because when your patrols go out, they stay at that point, they sign up on the logbooks. How long are they there for? 5-10 minutes? But if you have most of the facilities that you monitor linked to a control room, it becomes easy to see danger occurring before those on duty have seen it. And that actually helps in ensuring that there's proper surveillance from the head office of the guard company going on. Access control systems, badging systems also. Yes, if you are lucky to be providing security in an organization that has all these systems, your security officers must be able to understand how the system works, and they must be able to flow with it. Visitor management systems have gone beyond just using logbooks. It has gone digital. And I've gone to some companies that before you are allowed to have access, they will capture your image, they will even take your fingerprints, and before you are allowed to go in, they feed it into their system to be sure that you are not one of those that they are looking for. Before you are allowed to have access into that particular facility. So cybersecurity measures is also another important area where you are trying to ensure that you are operating in line with the this new framework I just spoke about. So the first part has to do with endpoint protection, and make sure that if you are given an opportunity to provide computer security for the organization, then antivirus system must work. Then there are endpoint detection and response solutions that EDRO must be effective, and their mobile devices must be properly secure. You can do something like an awareness program for them to be able to guide them through that process. They also have data protection. We have some organizations, even within our sector, that are also doing this. They assist their clients in protecting their data, and they also provide a backup. They have what you call like a store warehouse where the data of their clients can also be protected. But regular backup is also very, very key. Why is that important? So that when a particular storage device is no longer available, you have backup for that service to be able to continue. So network security is also very important in the area of firewalls, intrusion detection, and prevention system. The identity and access management system is also very key, and this becomes very helpful when you are able to provide a robust visitor management system. So we also have internal controls and loss prevention. Inventory control is key. In most big organizations, they lose a lot of money from lack of proper inventory controls. But for you to be able to do proper inventory control, asset tagging must be done first. Some of us in our business have gone into that business of doing asset tagging, and the advantages of doing asset tagging, you're able to locate your assets, you know where they are, and then when those assets with that one, you know the value, and then you also understand how those assets can be properly protected, and then also to when those assets need to be sold off, you know that yes, this is the time for us to sell off the asset because it's not giving us problems. So inventory controls is very key. With inventory control, you're able to track movement and usage of physical inventory. Vendor and supply chain vetting is also very important. These are very big problem in the industrial security space, where vendors will supply items, they want that supply, and they get everybody to sign up that they've supplied the actual item. It's a very big problem. And that's why I always encourage those that can call them users of our services, pay your service provider well so that he can pay your gas well. When the guys are always hungry, looking for money, 1 naira, 2 naira, 5 naira, they throw their face away. We want to pay them well. They see it as a business, they see it as a career, and they are ready to put their life on the line to make sure that that asset is properly protected. Then fraud prevention, segregation of duties is also very key. By talking about segregation of duties, you're looking at a situation whereby only one person does not start a process from beginning to the end. For that to happen, it must be in the hands of different people so that nothing goes wrong. The regular audit is also key. Yes, you go into a place to do an audit before you start offering your service. How many of us who provide security go back to do another audit? My advice to my colleagues who are providing security service is, before you start a business, take up a job, do an audit. After you have done that audit, every 6 months, do another audit, because things are changing. Crime is evolving. Criminals are coming out with better ways of hitting hard at access. So don't do only one audit just to get the job, and you are there for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. There's no other audit. Things have changed. Ways of committing crimes are being updated by the criminals. So when you do your audit as often as once in 6 months, then please don't wait until even 6 months. When a major incident occurs, go and do your audit. Because once you do that audit, it may push the owner of that service, the owner of that asset, to change their policies. But you have to drive them. The employee training and awareness is also very key. You are providing service, and what is giving you problems in providing that service are the staff of that organization. What stops people from doing a mail to the MD of that company? Yes, we know we are providing that service, but for us to serve you better, I want to do a security awareness program for all your staff. We want to do it. Luckily, we have Zoom now. Yes, we want to do it by Zoom so that everybody, wherever they are, across the location of the country, can be on Zoom. Zoom has a capacity, can take any capacity, depending on the kind of signing that you have, the kind of contract you have with the Zoom people. So cultural integration is very key. When you do your employee training, we know you have people from different backgrounds and the approaches to security is not the same. But once you do that training, what does it do? It helps promote a security conscious workplace culture. The security training is also very key. We are talking about best practices both for cybersecurity and also for physical security measures. The emergency procedures is also very important. Drills should be done as often as you can, because it's those drills that you do that test the efficiency and the efficacy of whatever operational system, security operational system you put in place. So you do it more often, yes, you start seeing the lapses you have within your security framework, and you start upgrading, you start updating, and things start getting better. Incident response, incidents, yes. So the other one that also helps is incident response and recovery. It's very, very key. Now, you're providing service in an organization. What is your role when there's an incident? What are you supposed to do to support them? Now, there's something I must tell every person. Those of us who are facility owners, you are not there 24 hours. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you go home. Who is left behind? Security officers that some of you don't pay well. Security officers that some of you pay well. Yes, of course, if you pay them well, they'll be motivated, they'll work well. Oh, I'm not even talking about payment now. I'm talking about how do they respond to incidents. So the private car company and the asset owner, they must sit down and work out a proper incident response plan. If there's an incident outside the official working hours, who are those that are going to manage handle a response to incident? They are the guys. If you're not done that proper training, they don't know what to do. I know of a particular company, the private gas company, yes, they did a survey, and he told the factory owner, yes, that for me to provide effective security, I need to deploy 25 gas. And the MD of the company said, but I don't have the budget for 25 gas now, but let's start with 4 gas because we are not operating yet. And that was a mistake because they were not operating, but when they started operating, they did not let the MD of the gas company know. And then a fire came, and those 4 gas could not handle the problem. So, but the story is not the key. What is important is for both parties to sit down and work out an incident response plan, do their drills, make sure those that will be there outside official hours know what to do when an incident takes place. Business continuity and the disaster recovery plans are also very key. Each time I go to a place to do business, that's the first thing I ask for their policies, ask for their emergency response plan, ask for their business continuity plan. Some will tell me, no, they don't have. And then when I now insist, yes, you must have these plans, because if something goes wrong, you must have a way of taking the business to what it used to be. Some people will just say, but the reason why I'm calling you just to come and provide gas. All this way you're telling me is told you. Yeah, most of the time I walk away because I know that there'll be a problem. If there's a problem, I'm going to keep the blame on the company that's providing service. So if you go into a place and the facility owner is not ready to work with you when you are operating a particular principle, it's better to walk away, because at the end of the day, you're going to end in big trouble. So post-incident review is also very key. Once an incident happens, you must review the incident, because why do you need to review the incidents? Because you learn from the mistakes, and it also helps you improve on your processes. Monitoring auditing, and continuous improvement. The regular audits, I've talked about audits. Audits should not be done only when you want to take over business. Do it as often as you can, as a minimum twice a year. But whenever an incident of course, you must do audit. Then you must go beyond just doing facility audit. Those who provide gas services, even for the asset owner, insist that whoever is providing you service does a performance audit for their gas. When you do a performance audit for your gas, you know their strengths, you know their weaknesses, you know how they're able to use. Then you also are able to assess their understanding of the policies of the organization, their culture, and how they're able to use that to provide effective security for that particular business. Adaptive strategy, update protection strategies based on new threats and technologies. Performance metrics track KPIs such as incident frequency, downtime, loss value. Use of performance metric is also very key. When incidents keep on happening, please record those incidents, record their frequency, record the days they happen, record the months they happen, record the time they happen. With that one, you're able to do a trend analysis, and with that one, you're able to come up with an effective security solution for your client that can assist them in having a better facility security plan. So I would now, this is just a sample of just a template of how you can use enterprise asset protection for a manufacturing company. You can adapt it to suit any business that you may want to use this for. So we have said the first thing is you do a risk assessment, asset identification, then you evaluate the risk. You look at the equipment that they have. Do they have equipment failure or sabotage? Then what kind of theft do they have, internal, external? Then what workplace safety hazards are there? Cyber attacks, have they experienced cyber attacks in the business? Then supply chain disruption, what have they had? I went into a company one day and there was no water. There was no light. That was a service disruption. That to ask everybody to go. Will it happen like that all the time? They identify key assets. Why is this very important? To understand the criticality, the importance, and the value of the asset, so you know how to protect the asset. You were able to protect the MD of a company, not able to protect the cleaner of the company. Life is life, yes, but the MD symbolizes the authority of that business. And that's why you see they weave a level of protection around most MDs of organizations. So you identify key assets, machinery and production equipment, raw materials, all those key assets in running the business so that you know how to protect them. Then you also look at policy development, look at their policies, look at their governance structure, look at their asset protection policy, will help you to make sure that there's proper security in that particular facility. Look at the physical security measures they have. They're looking at badge access. How do they conduct access control? How do they do it right? Where has security is another big issue? How do they protect raw materials? How do they protect finished goods? I've gone into a factory, the raw materials are there, the finished goods are there, there's no demarcation. And you see people moving in and out, the truth is inside, no proper documentation. And when they are told the CS, I said, look, what you are doing is very wrong. You must have a way of, when raw materials come, before you use those raw materials, document how they came, document how they are taken out. The finished product, document the quantity, document how they are taken out, and then the authorization for moving them out. Perimeter security is also key. How is the facility secured? Cameras are monitoring. I went into a facility, yes, to do an audit. They had a control room. When I went into the control room, I saw they only had one person. I said, what? I don't understand. This cannot be a control room. And I said, how does she work? He said she works from 8 to 5. I said, after 5 o'clock, what happens? She said she goes home. So who monitors the entire establishment? Nobody. As a minimum manpower requirement, you must have minimum of 2 personnel in the control room. And they cannot work more than 8 hours because the labor law expressly forbids that. But in the industry, we want to work 8 hours, but many of the asset owners that give us business, they insist to work 12 hours. It's again the labor law. So at times when you see these guys getting to their breaking point, many of them don't even provide for relief gas. When you see a company allowing gas to work 24 hours, it's because they've not made provision for relief gas. When they make provision for relief gas, yes, that 24 hours, you have 3 shifts. That should be the standard in the industry for you to have effective, efficient staff. Of course, when things go wrong, they still blame a guy that has worked 24 hours. But they do that so that they can reduce their manpower requirements. Cybersecurity and operational technology protection. This is just a template. Look at identity and access management, internal controls and loss prevention, inventory control, vendor supply chain vetting, fraud prevention. We talked about this when we are talking generally about the template. Employee training and safety. We look at safety protocols, security awareness, is there reporting, is there response and business continuity, disaster recovery, response plan, downtime management, monitoring, auditing, and continuous improvement. We talk about audits, real-time dashboards for monitoring what is going on within the place. So, conclusion, physical protection measures in protecting corporate assets have taken a new dimension as the asset owner must embrace and implement new skills in protecting facility assets. It's becoming tougher to do so. So, it's a new way of protecting assets. EAP is not paying off as investment in that sector is not paying off, and that's the new way to go. Thank you very much. I'm done with our approach to enterprise asset protection. I thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this. And I'd like to take questions if we have questions.
But the question is, thank you very much, Dr. Wilson. Thank you for the clarity on security measures and practices in broad perspective. Your specific perspectives on asset management protection are also very clear. Thank you, sir. I would encourage participants to share their questions in the chat box so that we can quickly get it running after the second presentation. So we'll be moving on to the second topic of the day, which is beyond locks and key, beyond locks in the RAM, the comprehensive approach to enterprise asset protection. I'll be inviting Mr. Keshin Sunday Adetotu, Commander, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Lagos State Command, who is represented by Eze Onyebula, Deputy Commander, Head of Department, Private Guard Company Department, Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, Lagos State Command. Please, can you take the podium, sir?
We can't hear you, sir.
Kindly unmute yourself. Kindly unmute yourself.
His mic is unmuted, but we can't hear him, sir. Commandant, sir, we can't still hear you. We know you are talking, but we can't still hear you, sir. Please, participants, kindly hold on. I think Commandant is having some technical issues.
Sir, Commandant, sir, is it possible for you to go out and come back in again? Because we can't hear you. It may be network issues. Yes, sir. To go out and then come back in again. Can you hear us, sir? Okay. I don't know whether while we are trying to get in touch with the commandant, we can take one or two questions that Mr. Barrister Wilson can answer while we work with the commandant.
Thank you very much, Ma. We just have two questions here. One of them is, does NECA have a policy in place to commit members to patronize only licensed security companies? And the second question is just almost same thing. So I don't know.
It's okay, right? What could be the problem?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
We can hear you now, Commandant.
Okay, Mr. Moderator. Distinguished participants, good day. My state commandant, Mr. Sunday Adedotu, is unavoidably absent, and he has directed me, he further asked me to extend his warm greetings to all the honorable participants here today. He asked me to inform you that he's so pleased with this development, this forum where knowledge has to be shared. We have to learn from each and every one of us, especially as these are professionals, men who have in-depth experience in the industry, from NECA and from ALPSPN. Having said that, let me go straight into the matter today. The essence of security, of course, is to protect valuables. Valuables include lives and assets, property. And so, if there is no security challenge, if there are no challenges, there may be no need for security. And I would like to quickly look into how the question of security came into being Security here we are talking about started from Egypt, when the pharaohs saw the need to protect their valuables. So they hired private individuals to carry out the protection of their homes, their families, and valuables. The very important personalities in the society were also covered in this arrangement. It extended to Greece, to Rome, and this continued because of evolving issues in the society up to the Middle Ages. In the Middle Ages, violence and all sorts of crime became so rampant all over the world, and Nigeria is not an exclusion. And so this thing continued until Nigerian government was watching these developments. And then before that time, those that felt the need to have security apart from conventional security personnel or agencies had to hire private individuals to provide security in their homes, in their shops, and so on. And that sort of security that time they used to call them megads. And so with time, these megads started constituting problems. And then individuals began to organize people and send them out to provide security to people that need their services. So the unregulated situation, the chaos that it was causing, made the government to come in to institute sanity. And so was born Private Guard Companies Act of 1986. The Private Guard Companies Act of 1986 was under the control of administration, enforcement of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. And that continued until 2003, when civil defense came on board. So the act establishing amended Act of 2007, the mandate to enforce the Private Guard Companies Act. And so the NSCDC became a sole enforcement agency to regulate, to license, to supervise, monitor, train, conduct workshops for private guard companies. And then each of the private guard company has some statutory requirements to meet up with, starting from the incorporation of their companies to application to Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps for registration and license. So by so doing, whenever a company is licensed, the next thing they do is to recruit guards and deploy them. But oftentimes we notice some quick fixes among the licensed companies in the area standards as required. And the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps have been fighting that situation. So I want to use this opportunity to call on the participants here today, the practitioners, to join hands with the regulators, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, to curb these quick fixes by way of giving us information so that we can, nip the situation in the bud. So now, when the gas are deployed, the essence is for them to protect assets of enterprises, homes of individuals, and so on and so forth. And that is the traditional method of providing security. In this modern time, the society has become so complex with provision of services, different services, industrial production, and so on. We discover that the traditional method is no longer adequate, because now, no matter how you train a guard and deploy him to protect assets, can you trust him? Do you know what he has in mind? Therefore, guards alone deployed are not adequate to protect, to give maximum protection to assets. Just as it is said, we all remember in the book of Macbeth, or rather Julius Caesar, where King Duncan said, there is no act, there's no act that can determine the mind's construction in the face. Therefore, other measures need to be put in place. That is to say, there should be a holistic approach to provision of security, to providing protection to assets. By so doing, in this modern time, what we should be talking about is incorporation of technology in the provision of asset protection. And then, what are these technologies that we need to incorporate? Adequate enterprise asset protection in the society that requires a very comprehensive approach, and this involves physical security measures. Talking about physical security measures, we should be looking at cyber security and employee training. The key strategies to consider in physical security measure include advanced video surveillance. Now there is high definition cameras with remote monitoring capabilities to detect suspicious activities and prevent criminal. Smart card readers, biometric scanners, and digital locks to restrict entry to authorized personnel and track employee movement. You say, talking about card readers and biometric scanners, discover that there are times you employ guards in some corporations. When you are not there, even the guards may have criminal intent to break through, to enter unauthorized places to do what you and I can imagine. So with biometric scanners and smart card readers that restrict them from having unauthorized access will frustrate such guards or individuals from committing whatever they may have in mind, which you and I can only imagine. Then there is the perimeter security system. Advanced controls electric fence monitoring, and outdoor sensors to detect unauthorized access attempts. How about inventory protection? There is advanced radio frequency identity systems to track asset movement and alert security personnel to unauthorized item removal. Take, for instance, this one is commonly seen in, if you go to Computer Village here, the electronic shops, cell phones, they have this appliance whereby when you go there, you may think that they're not looking at you. When you take one set to walk away, that set has not been deactivated. So if you try to walk away with it, what happens? There's an alarm. Alarm triggers to inform the person, the owners, that look, somebody has, tampered with an asset, and quickly you'll be caught. Then the cybersecurity measures, data encryption, protecting sensitive information by converting it into codes accessible only to authorized personnel. In this modern time, we should also be talking about multi-factor authentication, and that is verifying user identities through multiple means to prevent unauthorized access. Advanced threat protection, utilizing machine learning and artificial intelligence to identify and respond to threats faster than traditional methods. If for instance, there's no deployment of modern technology, somebody can enter your premises, do what he has to do, and go away. Before you realize what has happened, it's too late. The person would have gone. So the cyber integration also integrating physical and cyber security systems to address data breaches and intellectual property theft. We also have to look into employee training and awareness. Regular training sessions, educating staff on security protocols, strong passwords, and secure handling of data. This is very important. Then there is the issue of gamification, which talks about increasing engagement and retention of security protocols through interactive training sessions. Also, security awareness. Many people do not have security awareness in their environment. They don't know when there is a threat, what constitutes a threat. So it is very, very important that to every individual, those of us who are in the security industry, we need to carry out adequate security awareness in the society to actually warn individuals of security threats. We will recall that in 1967, during the Biafra Nigeria Civil War, many Nigerians have not experienced war. They do not know the threats. They do not know anything about it. So that was when Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, though as a voluntary organization, came up to educate the general public about, the threats, the risk involved in war. Similarly, in situations of public corporations, enterprises that have valuables, both staff and guards need to be security conscious. They need to be security aware of potential threats and the importance of observing security protocols. Some of the strategies that need to be employed in this consideration will include identifying the potential risk. I remember last month I visited an organization. The organization, I carried out a sort of physical forensic audit, and I observed a lot of security threats which the management do not know, and had to draw their attention to all of that, and then warn them of the implications, persuading them to take proactive action before it happens. So it is very, very important for risk assessment to be identified, to identify potential risk, and that should be conducted regularly. Identify the vulnerabilities and implement means of mitigating the risk. Incident response planning. When something happens, when there is a security threat, or when it has not happened, how do we respond so that it won't be too late? Therefore, incident response planning is very, very important. And that is to say, developing clear procedures to guide employees during security incidents and minimize downtime. Business continuity planning. Integrating security measures into business continuity plans to ensure minimal disruption. In addition to the foregoing security measures, enterprise assets can further be protected through the following means. Insurance. Some business enterprises do not insure their businesses. Every business has its own risk, and no matter how careful anybody can be, there is inherent risk, which insurance can take away or at least reduce the extent of loss. So it is advisable that assets should be protected through insurance. How about trust? There is need to utilize trust, such as irrevocable trust or asset protection trust, to shield assets from creditors. And here now we talk about estate planning implementation. We need to implement estate plans. Estate plans take the form of wills, powers of attorney, and living trust to manage assets during life and after death. summarily, in this modern world, traditional means of providing security to assets is no longer enough. So a holistic approach, a comprehensive approach, combining both the traditional method and the modern technologies can grant us a near perfect asset protection. Thank you very much. Hello, can you hear me?
Thank you very much, sir. We can hear just a little technical hit. I thank you, Commander, for a decisive presentation on result-oriented approaches to enterprise assets protection. We thank you very much, sir, for all you said. Distinguished participants, I have no doubt that
thank you.
Petitions have provoked among you the need for rethinking and recalibrating the security measures operational in our respective companies. We want to move to the interactive section now, and I had earlier on, advised that all questions be shared in the chat box, and from there we'll just have only one question to our presenters, to our guests. The question is, in our clients, we hardly find any client who is willing to engage a security organization that insists on 8-hour schedule because of budget constraints. Any possible way of addressing this? I think any or two can look at the questions. Hello, sir. But the question is not directed to anybody. Anybody can pick up the question, sir.
Perhaps Barrister Wilson would like to make some comments, and then also the commandant or even the president. Over to you, sirs.
Can you come again with the question? Barrister Wilson, you have the floor, please.
The question is, in our clients, we hardly find any client who is willing to engage a security organization that insists on 8-hour schedule because of budget constraint. Any possible way of addressing this?
Yeah, maybe I'll take the question because I think the network is not cooperating. Nigerian labor law says 8 hours, but what is in practice for security organizations is a 12-hour shift. 12-hour shifts 6 days a week, 1 day off. It is for us to get the clients to understand, because what mainly happens is that the clients really don't know what the law is saying. So as private security organizations or as businesses, we need to inform the clients that this is what the law says. But because of financial constraints, companies bend over backwards to get these contracts. You know, these contracts are really not easy to get. So what we need to do as companies or service providers is that we allow the client to know what the law actually states. Thank you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well. We can hear you, sir.
Did you get my response?
Yes, we got your response. We thought you were still confident, sir. But that clearly answers the question. So going on to the second.
Okay, sorry, Wilson is muted. Can we unmute him, please? He just called me.
Okay.
Okay, I hope everybody can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you clearly, sir.
I was trying to talk, I was muted. I was even trying to share, open my video, but I was not allowed to, but thank you. Now, the challenge we have in our industry is that the users of our services are already used to a way of engaging us, and that is for 12 hours. And when you try to educate them that it should not be more than 8 hours, they resist. We would like to take the opportunity to engage NECA that they need to assist us so that there can be a change in the way their member companies look at our service. Let us not look at the money we are spending on security because we're actually providing value. Let's also look at our laws, the labor law, which says you cannot engage a worker for more than 8 hours. If you must, you pay overtime. They make our guys work beyond 8 hours, at least 4 extra hours per shift. And they're not being paid for this. And when things go wrong, these same guys are the ones that are thrown into the cell by the police, even though they may not have committed any offense. So the approach needs to change. The way companies see us, the service we offer should change. And apart from that, the rate card should also change. Cleaners are better paid than our guys. Drivers are better paid than our guys. I had a guard working in my house. They came to me one day and said, "Okay, I can drive." I said, "What do you mean by I can drive?" He said, "Okay, you know, what you pay me as a guard is this. If I work for you as a driver, my salary will double." So that's a challenge. That does not give confidence to the guys. That does not give them that ego that I'm doing a job that can make me earn a living. And that's why some of us private guard owners, we face a lot of challenges. We've had a lot of issues where the guards at the end of the month, they try and front back at our faces. I mean, someone who's earning 30,000 a month. It's not a living wage. 40,000 a month is nothing. So I beg the employers of labor, please do something about what we are being paid. Also do something about the working hours. Let it go back to 8 hours so that you can start having value for the service that we offer. And then also in terms of pay, as a basis, it should not be less than minimum wage. Many
companies are still paying 60,000, 50,000. Out of that money, you now pay the guy 40,000 and retain whatever for admin charges. Let the guys earn at least minimum wage of 70,000. I'm not saying it's everything, but it will help. There's a somewhere whereby a guy is earning something 20,000, 25, 30, 40,000. I mean, when you look at the kind of assets you have, that guard will not be able to protect your assets the way a guard is well paid will be. Thank you very much. I was also looking at some of the questions on the chat box. With the influx of untrained and unlicensed security professionals used by mainly private firms due to cost factors, what the Association of Licensed Private Security Professionals of Nigeria are doing to curb this? Is this a major source of challenge and we are at the forefront of ensuring that our members are not only licensed, but they renew their license.
We can hear you, sir.
I think he's having a little hitch of network problem. I'm sure he will come back. So I don't know if any of our guests can pick up on another question, which is what is the risk involving contracting unlicensed companies?
Okay, maybe, can you hear me? Maybe I'll come in here.
Okay.
For you to operate as a private security company, you have to go through the rigors of licensing through the Ministry of Interior and through our direct regulator, who is the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. There's a lot of documentation and vetting which goes on before a license is issued. And every licensed company is regulated by the Security and Civil Defense Corps, including name of clients, uniforms that are worn, name and location of staff. So they have the records of all licensed private security companies. Now, the risk in using an unlicensed private security company is that you don't know where to go if you have a problem. You don't know who to turn to when you have a problem. An unlicensed company is not registered. Yes, they may be registered in CAC, but they are not licensed to carry out the functions of licensed private security companies. So it is very, very dangerous because you cannot vouch for the staff that you are being given or the integrity of the company. So the best bet is just to use a licensed company. You can stop by any of the NSCDC offices to check if the company is licensed. Also, every licensed company has a license and a license renewal, which the renewal is either for a year or 2 years. Thank you. Did you hear me?
It was clear.
Yes, we heard you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay, moving on to the next question. It says, all companies are recruiting in the same market. Issues between clients, company, and guards. With the guards taking another job, either in same state or another state without any trace. What is ALPSN PN doing to prevent such from occurring?
Okay, right now, information is being shared across the companies countrywide, but we'll speak about Lagos zone. We have been able to upload information of staff who have committed one criminal act or the other, and then we are succeeding in apprehending staff who have committed one crime or the other in another company. So right now, yes, there is a pool of unemployed people where we take from. The most important thing is that verification. Licensed companies always have to verify the staff that they are engaging. And in course of that verification, it exposes what has been hidden either by the applicant or the person looking for the job. Now, once the information of an errant staff is shared across the platform, it notifies all security companies that, look, this person is wanted or he needs to be interviewed. But in most cases, these men are apprehended. So on the share of information, the association is also is in the process of setting up a platform. And also the ministry is setting up a platform where all the information is logged on and verifications can be done at the touch of a button. So if a guard has been blacklisted in company A, company B, or company C, it flashes on the system that this guard is wanted for this or has done this or he absconded from duty. So that platform, we had a training on the build of the platform, but right now we are sharing it across our own platform for easy access to the flow of information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. It's quite clear. So moving on to the next question, which reads, what is ALPSPN doing to clamp down on unregistered security outfits to ensure that only fully registered and accredited security companies registered with NSCDC be allowed to operate, sir?
Okay, we have a joint ALPSPN, NSCDC, PGC monitoring group, which is headed by the head of department of the private guards companies department, where information is gotten through members and also from concerned citizens that we would like you to check whether this company is registered. So there is monitoring and there are constant patrols going around all over the country, checking the validity of the license or of the registration of any company. And where they are found, the business owners are called in for an interview and sanctions are meted out to those companies. So it is very imperative for you to ask when you are taking on a private security company that you should ask for their operating license. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that clarity. So moving on to the next question, which says, following the act, what is the appropriate remuneration in terms of percentage between clients, operatives, and the security company?
Okay, this is a very tricky one, but the act establishes that the minimum that should be paid to any security operative is the minimum wage. As at July 29th, 2024, the minimum wage is 70,000 naira. So there should not be any guard earning less than 70,000 naira. No licensed private security company should pay any of their staff less than 70,000 naira. Now, the act is very clear. 40% of the contract sum is paid to the security company, while 60% of the contract sum is paid to the guard. Now, with the new tax laws in place, anybody earning the minimum wage is not paid, doesn't pay payee, or pension is voluntary. So no guard, because we have security officers that get 150, some clients pay 140, 150, 100,000 naira. Some get as much as 200,000 naira, but no security operative should be paid anything less than the minimum wage. Thank you.
This is just about the last question, and it reads, has NSCDC any collaborative initiatives with companies, that is security users, to raise the welfare of guards?
Before I answer that question, there is something in the chat box that Barrister Wilson needs to be unmuted. I think he wants to take the question. Can we unmute him, please? Barrister Wilson, you can go ahead.
I think it's out of the call. Probably a network issue.
So maybe you can speak to that.
Okay. The question again, please. If there's any collaboration between the regulator, the NSCDC, and the association, there's massive collaboration, very massive collaboration between the NSCDC and ALPSPN. For ease of management, you have to be a member of the ALPSPN before you get your license, because what the regulator is doing is gathering us together to speak with one voice, and then all our views, points, and everything, our thoughts are gathered and trained in one line. We have several collaborations. We have stakeholders meeting between the private security companies and the regulator, the NSCDC. We have retreats with the regulator, the NSCDC. We also have monitoring between the NSCDC and the ALPSPN association. So monitoring the task force for clamping down on unlicensed private security companies, monitoring, which is the daily monitoring, the monitoring of all security companies, where the regulator comes in and checks that you are complying with the laws which set up private security companies. Our collaboration and our association, I think, is strong. Thank you.
I would like to hand over to my Director of Social Labor Affairs, Mrs. Adenike Adebayo Ajola. Madam, please.
Thank you very much. And a very, very special appreciation to our distinguished speakers, Barrister Wilson, Esagbendo, Commander Sunday Adedotun, who was ably represented by Deputy Commandant Eze Onyegula, and of course, the chairman of and our co-host for today, Mr. Babatunde Mumini. Thank you very much, sirs, for driving these discussions. I'm sure that it has been of value to everyone on this call, whether we joined via Zoom or we joined via other channels. Thank you very much indeed. I think we have all learned a lot today, and from here on, it should just be a call to action. What are we going to do with the knowledge that we have gained at this meeting? What are we going to do differently? We have learned about the act that establishes the NDDC. We have learned about the need for us to collaborate with our various security guards organizations. We have learned about the fact that it is all stakeholders are involved, and it's not just the licensed practitioner or the company that has the responsibility. We have learned about the need for us to ensure that we have licensed security guards that are operating in our organizations to ensure that we are adequately protected and we have recourse where there are gaps or where there are breaches. We have learned about the fact that safety is everybody's business, whether it is the service providers or it is the beneficiaries, which are the organizations. And our speakers have highlighted the need for us to have the adequate security number of guards to guard our assets, as well as the need for us as employers to comply with labor laws, whether it's the hours they work or what they are expected to be paid. Because as we all know, the minimum wage is 70,000, but we know that that is just the minimum, and employers are free to up that, especially for security guards that are guarding our assets that are worth millions, billions, or even trillions. And finally, the need for us to keep records where there are breaches in the security system in our different organizations, so that we are able to take adequate steps to ensure that those gaps are covered. It has been a very interesting session once more, and we thank you very much for listening. We thank you for your comments. We thank you for your questions, and we hope that this knowledge that we have gained today will be implemented in your various organizations. On behalf of the Director General, Mr. Adewale Smart Oyerinde, we thank you very much for listening, and we wish you a wonderful day and productive day ahead. Thank you very much. Sirs, thank you very much. Madams, thank you very much to our distinguished panelists and speakers. And we thank you also to our dear Chief Arthur Nzeribe and Governing Council member for facilitating this session. Thank you very much.